So, do you ever wonder how a team of heroes, a tight-knit group, can just completely fall apart? Or we're going to look at exactly that, an incredible story of how a group of adventurers, totally united in purpose, were shattered in a single afternoon.
So how does something like this even happen? Well, it all kicks off with a little bit of indecision, a huge missed opportunity, and a plan that was, let's be honest, born from pure desperation. This is a perfect example of how fast things can spiral out of control.
All right, let's set the scene. We're in this really tense town called Vallaki. There's been a bloody festival, a huge political shakeup, and our adventurers are trying to figure out what to do next. The whole town is on a knife's edge, and frankly, so are they.
On top of all that, they're stuck trying to figure out this super cryptic tarot card reading they got. They've solved a couple of the clues, but the rest, they're just staring at them, totally stumped. They can't even agree on what these fortunes are supposed to mean.
And right in the middle of all this confusion, it hits one of them, the rogue Daemon. He gets this awful sinking feeling. That priceless wedding dress they risked their necks for, the one they stormed a mansion to get, it might have been sitting in a simple cargo wagon this whole time.
So they decide to ambush the wagon. Great plan, right? Well, it falls apart immediately. They start bickering over every little detail, getting lost in all the what-ifs. And while they're arguing, the wagon, the whole reason for the plan, just rolls right by the inn. They don't even notice until the innkeeper points it out.
Okay, so Daemon has had enough. He is done talking. He's not waiting around for another debate. He just leaps to his feet, bolts out the door, and decides to handle this himself. And what follows is this chaotic solo heist right through the city streets.
And what he does next is, well, it's both genius and completely insane. He catches up to the wagon, scrambles underneath it, and starts using his magic. He creates the sound of a bear to spook the horses, then uses a magical hand to release the brake. The whole thing just takes off, careening down the street.
Then, with another flick of that magical hand, he locks the brakes back up. The wagon just jackknifes. It's a huge, violent crash. But there, amidst all the wreckage and the mud, he sees it. The pristine wedding dress. He actually pulled it off.
But that feeling of victory, it lasts about 2 seconds, because he looks over and sees the horses maimed and dying from the crash. His plan worked, but it came at this terrible, brutal cost. He's forced to put them out of their misery himself before he slips away into the shadows.
Now, while all of Daemon's chaos is going down on one side of town, a totally different story is just beginning. A mysterious new person is arriving in Vallaki, and he has absolutely no idea what he's about to walk into.
Meet Urihorn Tenpenny. He's a Halfling Beastmaster, and he's traveled a long, long way to get here. He finds Vallaki completely locked down, under a strict curfew, and has to bribe the guards just to get in. He's here for one reason, to find allies to take down Strahd himself.
So, where does he go for shelter? The Blue Water Inn. Yep, the very same inn our heroes just stormed out of. And there, he meets this really charismatic entertainer, a guy who calls himself Rictavio. But it's pretty clear he's more than just a simple circus ringleader.
And this is Barovia, right? So you know that nobody is ever who they appear to be. Rictavio invites him up to his room for a private chat, and, well, that's when everything changes.
In the room, the truth comes out. Rictavio's whole appearance just shimmers, and the disguise melts away. He isn't some vagabond entertainer. He's Rudolf Van Richten. The Rudolf Van Richten, the legendary monster hunter. Urihorn is just standing there, face to face with a living legend.
But here's the kicker. The first thing Van Richten does is give him this chilling warning about, you guessed it, our heroes. He tells Urihorn to stay away from them, claiming they've helped vampires before. He plants this deep seed of mistrust, even suggesting they could be spies for Strahd.
And that seed of mistrust gets planted at the worst possible moment, because at that exact same time, Daemon's companions, the Cleric Traxidor and the Knight Radley, are showing up at the crash site, and they are walking straight into a trap.
They get to the scene looking for their friend, but he's long gone. All they find is a wrecked wagon and a really, really angry mob. And the crowd immediately starts pointing and shouting, "Those are the strangers the burgomistress is looking for."
Now look, these two guys, they're elite warriors. In a fair fight, they would wipe the floor with anyone in that crowd. But this isn't a fair fight. This is 2 against dozens of furious people. The numbers are just not on their side.
The fight is over almost before it starts. It's just brutal. They take a few people down with them, sure, but they are just completely overwhelmed by the sheer weight of the mob. They're beaten into the ground and captured by the city guard.
So just like that, the party is shattered. Daemon has the dress, but his friends are now prisoners, and the one potential ally who just rode into town has been told that the heroes themselves are the real enemy here.
Which leaves us with a final, really big question. With their team completely broken, and two of their own in chains, all because of one bad plan, who's left to stand against the darkness of this land?